Welcome to Peter and Roughie's football show on PLZ Soccer, this Euro 2020 special. It is England against Scotland. The day has finally arrived. We've been waiting for it forever and a day, and I have to say, I'm getting nervous. Roughie is resplendent in his Scotland's top. He used to actually walk out for Scotland in his goalkeeper's top against England, and he had a good record. I just hope the luck of Roughie rubs off on all the Scotland players. Let me be honest with you, I wish I was there as part of the 22,500 who are going to be inside Wembley Stadium. I certainly don't wish I was there with the 1.8 million who've descended on London, Roughie, and are wearing every bit of tartan you can think of, and there's no social distancing.
No, but I'm sure they'll enjoy themselves, and it'll be a massive kick to the players when that team bus drives round the corner into Wembley and they see the reception that they're going to get. It gives you a tremendous lift, you know, to see that how many so many supporters are behind the team. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you to everyone for joining us for this one. It's exciting, it's nervy. So many people. Come on, Scotland, says Rick Stark from Canada. Let's go, Scotland. Jim Convery's in Canada. William Beck, great to have you on, William. Nicky Twig, afternoon to you. Ronnie Porter, Liz McDade, hi. Everyone from, beg your pardon, from Falkirk. And Hugh Scott, come on the boys tonight. Hugh, I think everyone is echoing those sentiments. Davy Phillips, Andrew Davis and John Donald. So many people joining us ahead of the big one, and fingers crossed it's all going to go according to plan. Of course, we are bathed in sunshine down here, up here in Scotland, but down there in London, Gabriel Antoniazzi, our reporter, is live outside Wembley Stadium. Gabriel, it's not great weather down there.
No, but thankfully the rain has gone off. It's been torrential for the last 24 hours. You were talking about your nerves, the pair of you. I'm so nervous I've not eaten since my McDonald's at 3 in the morning last night. But it's been a fantastic few days down here in London. You talk about social distancing, there hasn't been much of that. But it has been a complete party and festival atmosphere. I thought that when it was Scotland versus England drawn on a Friday night, there might be a bit of animosity, any violence, but it's been absolutely fine. Scotland fans enjoying themselves, England fans happy to see them here. I must say there's a lot more Scotland fans out and about in central London than England fans so far. There'll be 22,000 behind me at Wembley in about 4 hours' time. There will be more England fans in, but there's plenty of Scotland fans going to be cheering the boys on when they come out at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to know that his preparation is a McDonald's at 3 o'clock in the morning, Roughie. I mean, where's his professionalism?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be interviewing people, you know, about 1 or 2 in the morning. That'll be the best time to get a sensible interview, I think, with the amount of drink that will be consumed up until 8 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely. Big hi to Craig Lumsden, who joins us, Paul Baird as well, Neil Gray, great to hear from. Mick Ward as well has joined us, Stuart Bell, William has said, and I'm just going to read this out, William Hames says 3-0 England. Interesting. John Brown says, good luck Scotland. Kathy Kelly, good luck Scotland from sunny Spain. Kathy, we wish we were there with you. But thankfully today up in Scotland, the weather's not too bad. As far as the game is concerned, well, we will speculate right up until the point, probably about 6:30, 7 o'clock, when the teams will come out on a starting 11. He's got a big call to make, and I don't know about you, Roughie, but when Steve Clarke eventually makes that call, that will determine my mood.
Yeah. Well, he's certainly not giving anything away. He's not giving anything away to the media. He's not hinted that Adams is going to play. He's not hinted, you know, of any other changes and formations as well. I think the nation now is totally behind wee Gilmour getting a game. You know, I think we've all bought into that. You know, it just remains to be seen whether the manager's bought into it as well. But I think, you know, obviously Tierney playing, Gilmour playing, Adams up front, maybe Forrest in the wide position, you know, that would be the pleasing thing. And I think he's got to pick a side that everybody is with, because if it did go a wee bit pear-shaped, you can't go back to him and say you got your team selection wrong when we all agreed that that's the players we wanted to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, this is a vital game. Scotland really looking for a win. A draw might be enough if we can go and defeat Croatia, but even that is a tall order. But over and above that, you look at the previous games. We've been disappointed with the Czech Republic game. We've dissected it. We've discussed it ad nauseum over the last few days. Got to put it behind us. England are on a high. They're going into this game, obviously, with that win, Roughie, over Croatia, Raheem Sterling's goal. And listen, there's just over 5 million of us. There's over 50 million of them. They are undoubtedly the main favourites when you look at the quality of player they've got to call on.
Yeah, I would say so. You know, they're the top four. You know, they keep getting so far, quarter-finals, and letting themselves down. Their expectations are a lot higher than ours. You know, they'll be getting into this game tonight thinking, right, we're going to win this and we're going to get as far as the quarter-finals. Because if they don't get that far, they're going to come in with some stick, you know, with the amount of players that they have at their disposal. But certainly, I just hope they're not going to click at the right time, because they have got good players, there's no doubt about that. They've got players that can punish you. We've seen it in the European stage with obviously the Kanes and the Sterlings and playing in European football with their clubs. They are quality. But organisation, as we've seen a lot of times, if we can get organisation right, we've saw it in some of the games that were played, that teams just sit back. Once they get a goal, they sit back, they're organised, they say, right, we're going to be hard to beat, you'll hate to hit something spectacular to beat us. Let's hope we can get the first goal. I think that's a main priority tonight.
Yeah. Will you be having a bevy, Roughie? I just thought I'd check.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will, yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
In moderation.
Yeah, everything.
Well, let's hope after the game I'm getting horsed.
Roughie, I have to tell you, if Scotland win the game, there'll be a bottle of Southern Comfort quickly open, and I'll be going absolutely mental. I think the whole country will get into meltdown if we can somehow come up with a win in this one. Gams has been a busy boy, of course, partying it with his mates, but also out there doing his job, interviewing the Tartan Army.
It's good, we're used to this, We're taking the weather down with us to London, but got to deal with it, mate. I think it's going to be 1-1, but I am hoping for a Scotland win, of course. I'd play Forrest, actually. I thought he'd done well against the Dutch. Really expecting him. 2-1 to Scotland. I think it'll be Adams. He played well the other night, so I think he'll roll somebody and finish it.
Well, there you are. 1-1 is a hope. 2-1 would be great. Anyway, I couldn't care who scored, Roughie. No. As long, I mean, listen, if it's a defender, a ricochet, an own goal, who cares?
Yeah, I think if you ask anybody right now if they handed it as a draw, would take it, and it gives you something to play for next Tuesday, you know. And I think everybody would get behind the side and would be confidence would sort of grown a wee bit after the Czech game that we've been capable enough to get into Wembley and beat one of the favourites, or draw with one of the favourites.
Yeah, I know there's only 22,500 inside the stadium, as Gabs mentioned, but here's just a little flavour of what's happening in London. Gabriel alluded to the fact that. Roughie, I'm not sure there's 2 metres between any of them. Yeah. Are you?
And if you don't have a ticket, don't come down for the game.
I mean, that is absolutely bananas. I mean, I'm so glad. Listen, we were going to take the outside broadcast truck down. Yeah. We were going to give it big licks, but it wouldn't have been safe, Roughie.
No, I think a lot of people will be worried, you know, that what's going to come back up the road. But we'll just have to deal with it. You know, you would think, I was listening to a lot of people on the radio who are very conscious of, you know, keeping to the rules, but unfortunately there's a lot of people who don't. You know, a lot of people will have had their jags, which might be a wee sort of a comforting thing, but the social distance is just...
Don't dig yourself into a hole. It's a disaster. They haven't paid attention at all. Gabriel, you're down there. Obviously, you're going to have to be mega careful. There's stringent rules going into the stadium as well.
Yeah, well, you'll be pleased to know that I returned a negative lateral flow test this morning. That's what everyone that's going inside has to do. So, yes, I know you'll be pleased with that one, Peter. What I will say is London Mayor Sadiq Khan had said, please don't come down to London from Scotland if you have nowhere safe to watch the game. Now, everyone I have spoken to so far, and that's quite a few people, have said that they either have a ticket or a place in a pub, which is deemed a safe space to watch it. So they will say that they're complying by the rules. And in terms of some of the interviews I undertook earlier, there was a few more than those 3 that we saw, but a few boys not in a conscious state to give a good enough answer, but they were all going for victory. 6-0 was the most exciting prediction I had. I think it was a hat-trick for Lyndon Dykes.
Yeah, I think that boy had more than his fair share of tenants, to be honest with you. 6-0 is just beyond our wildest dreams. Roughie, I have to say, though, you know, I don't know about you, is there a point where you don't, you know, I think there's an early point where you can't have a drink. But clearly they've just absolutely went hell for leather, as Gabs has just mentioned there. Yeah. They're going for it early.
Yeah, they have, and we've seen them going for it early, particularly away from home.
Yeah.
You know, they seem to go for it early. My lasting memory was in Holland when we beat Holland 1-0 here, and then we went over there and got absolutely hammered. And there was a contingent of the Scottish support. Their favourite song that night was "We'll Support You Up to 4." You know, so I think they were having a few scoops before that game, because I don't think half of them knew what the score was.
Yeah, another William Wright here is hit on a raw nerve, which we all pay particular attention to on a regular basis. Roughie, he says, I hope Gabriel's been washing his top. He's like Roughie with his clothes. Once he well, listen, if you're going down to England, you don't want to be hogging the case around with you everywhere. Also, a lot of people saying, afternoon lads, 1-0 Scotland, says Niall Kane. Niall, I hope you're right. Paul Beard says, what will Clarke do? Play for a 0-0 draw? No doubt. Paul, I don't know, I just hope, I just really, really hope that he goes out with a positive attitude. I want to see 2 strikers. We all know you know, what we want from this game. I'll tell you one thing that has annoyed me, and I shouldn't get annoyed by it, but Gabriel, you'd think the only game that anybody ever wanted to talk about was, you know, Gaza's goal from 25 years ago. They must have replayed it about 40 times on last night's programme. As far as Scotland's concerned, we've got to hope that somehow we can muster up the spirit of 1999 when we managed to get down there and win by a 0-0, Don Hutchison scoring.
Yeah, I mean, since that goal at Euro 96 that took place at the old stadium behind me here, there's been 6 meetings and Scotland have only won 1. It was that game in 1999 with Hutchison's goal. But as I said yesterday, can we conjure up the spirit of 67, 77? In the meetings between the two sides, England have won 48, Scotland have 41. We're only 7 behind them. Many people thought that the gap would be much wider than that. So there is scope there and a bit of belief, especially by the people that are down here, that Scotland can win. Regards to the comments from some people online that Steve Clarke would play for a 0-0, no doubt, I think there's no problem with that. 0-0 keeps Scotland alive. Yes, we'd like to see them go attacking, but Peter, I know that you would take 0-0 if you were offered it. You'd like to see 2 up front. We are expecting him to go with Dykes and Adams. We'll have to wait and see for the team lineups at around 6:30, 6:45 to be confirmed with that one.
Yeah, well, our reporter Craig has had a stab at potentially what he could go for. Here's his possible Scotland lineup. It's just something that we can get us all talking. To be perfectly honest with you, Roughie, I wouldn't be happy if he picked that side. I'd like to see Forrest in there, and I'd like to see Gilmour. Of the 11 he's picked there, I'd like to see Forrest and Gilmour in there.
Yeah, I think if we're led to believe that Callum McGregor has a tired season and he has shown a bit of fatigue, I think we need a playmaker in there. You know, McGregor can come on at any time during the game, but I've been talked into Gilmour now. Everybody I hear talking about him, I've seen him playing at Chelsea. Everything's positive. You know, I'm sure he's impressed in the fortnight he's been away with Scotland. And let's hope he's shown enough to come into a game of this magnitude. Yeah,
well, one thing we're definitely hoping for is for Scotland to take their chances, and that's what Steve Clarke emphasised in the press conference yesterday.
You just do a little bit of work on the training pitch. You hope that when the chances come, they're clean chances. It's normally easier to score a clean chance than maybe half a chance. Czech Republic, to give them credit, I think they blocked about 10 out the 19 shots the other night, so that's good defending as well. We try to get clean chances in the game, and hopefully we get enough chances to stick one away, and hopefully one's enough to get us something out of the game.
Yeah, apologies for the quality of the picture. That's what came out from the main feed from the press conference. Sometimes it's absolutely pin sharp. It wasn't there, but he's talked about the fact that they've got to take chances. No doubt about it, Roughie. We are creating chances. Yeah. We just don't have that killer touch.
Well, we've spoke about it all week. We've spoke about all the big teams, the Italys, you know, France, who've got the big players and who come up with the goods. And we saw it again last night with Belgium. We saw it, Lukaku and De Bruyne, you know, two quality players who fashioned something out of nothing. And we need, our players obviously up front aren't of that quality, but we need them to conjure up something, some kind of magic. There always seems to be some kind of magic. Somebody takes it and creates that bit of magic. And that bit of magic, just hitting something for 20 yards or something, I think it was it Kerry Miller's goal? Yeah. Something like that, you know, something out of nothing that can give everybody a lift.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, you can talk to your blue in the face about previous meetings. This is what Steve Clarke had to say about the history of this match.
Well, it's a game obviously with a lot of historical significance. It's a game that the players all want to play in. What we have to do is make sure that we're prepared properly for it. In terms of team talk, the team talk really is to go through the tactical side of the game, the organisational side of the game. The actual nuts and bolts of getting the players up for the match is going to be really easy, because we know it's a big game. We know we need to get something from the game, and that's what we aim to do.
Yeah, Gabriel, he's not one for overplaying the tactics and filling players' heads full of nonsense. If anything, it's a kind of a short, sharp statement, a message to certain players. Steve Clarke tries to keep the whole thing simple.
Yeah, you know Steve Clarke quite well, and I've spoken to him plenty of times over the last 2 or 3 years. All of the players really believe in his idea. Obviously, he was the coach at Chelsea. But as you say, he likes to keep it short, simple. He doesn't overcomplicate things. The players fully believe in what he says, and you just hope he puts them out with the right game plan today. Perhaps a little bit more attacking than we saw against the Czech Republic. They will be defensively solid, and hopefully Kieran Tierney coming back into the side, as we expect him to do, will add to that. One of Arsenal's best players this season, fantastic at Celtic and for Scotland when he has played. Grant Hanley as well, he was fantastic on Monday, so you hope that he will continue his good form and help keep Scotland a clean sheet. If they keep a clean sheet, they can't lose. It's that simple, and that is what Steve Clarke will say. But as you were mentioning earlier, we are creating chances. That is a positive. It's been 39 chances in the last 2 matches, the friendly against Luxembourg and then Czech Republic. But 1 goal is simply not good enough. If they're going to get anything today and get out this group, they must take their chances.
Yeah, 39 chances we've created, Roughie. I mean, great start from Gabriel on this one.
Yeah, but most teams have 30 chances against Luxembourg.
I know we did take one of them, but nevertheless, you know, at least we are creating chances. We created we did create chances against the Czech Republic.
Yeah, the outstanding one for me was Dykes, where he just sort of stabbed at it.
Yeah,
you would have thought if that had been Ibrahimovic or a big player, you know, they would have had the composure, you know, to finish that. And that's what we're lacking. That's not to say he won't, if he gets a chance tonight. He'll certainly cause them problems, Dykes. You know, they won't like the way he plays. You know, he likes to put himself about. He likes to make centre-halves know that when they're going up for a ball, they've got to win it, because he's very, you know, strong in the air and everything. I don't think they'll like it.
Yeah, quite a lot of people posting messages, and thank you to all of you for taking the time and the trouble who are watching us on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter as well. And also, they're badly missing Ryan Jacks to hold the midfield together, says Ian John Miller. It could be a possibility. Alan Brown says Forrest, Fraser not starting, Gilmour starts, McTominay in a back 3. I mean, that has been mooted as well. Everybody would, Alan says that the team has been leaked and released. It wouldn't surprise you at times, because that's the one thing managers always mention, the fact that if the player gets a whiff of that he's playing a day before, he tells his agent then tells his mate, and the next minute, you know, he's onto the papers, bang, there's the team.
Well, that'd be galling for the manager. You know, I think that's one of the first things he would say in a meeting. You know, try and keep it as close as possible. You don't want to give the other team any advantage whatsoever. you know, and that's what he'll be trying to say to the players. So let's hope that isn't the case. Let's hope that when that Scottish team line goes into the English dressing room, that there might be a couple of surprises in it that might just give them something to worry about.
Yeah, well, one man we definitely know is playing for England is really the main man, the threat, the goal scorer, the striker, and that is Harry Kane. This is what he makes of the game starting at 8 o'clock tonight.
From my point of view, I think they're a very tough side. Even their result against the Czech Republic, I thought could have gone either way. The big moments in that game obviously went to the Czechs, but I thought Scotland played pretty well, and if it wasn't for the Czech keeper, could have had a few goals. So from maybe that's the issue for maybe I don't know, the fans or things like that, but from our point of view, we hugely respect them, and we know we're going to have a tough game tomorrow night.
He's the one man I fear, Roughie.
He's the one man that could float about and do nothing like Ronaldo, and all of a sudden he's given a chance to do something special. And we've seen it right through the whole season, even at club and at international level and in a European scene, that he is the special guy who can come up with that special moment, particularly if it's nothing each or it's one each or whatever. He's got the quality to do something special. I mean, unfortunately, we saw it the last time at Hampden when he didn't have a particularly good game, but he certainly did, you know, come up with the goods at the end, given the chance. And let's hope he's not given many chances tonight.
Yeah, lots of people wishing them well. Thank you for your messages across Facebook, YouTube and of course Twitter for this game. You've heard from Harry Kane. What about the potential lineup for England? Does it pick itself? Harry Maguire's fit. Will he have a part to play at some point in the game? They haven't steered too far away from it. We think maybe James and Shaw are going to get a sniff in this one. Gabs, I don't know if the English papers have given a more precise starting 11 for England. Maybe James and Shaw coming in because they want to try and thwart any threat left side and right side from Scotland.
Yeah, that is the idea. We do expect Reece James and Luke Shaw to replace Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker as the fullbacks for the Three Lions. Luke Shaw has been very impressive for Manchester United over the last 18 months, and that is mainly defensively. He was even mooted as a possible left-half centre back for England in the opening game where Tyrone Mings was in there, because he is good defensively. And is that to deal with a potential James Forrest playing right wing-back? We'll have to wait and see. It also helps because, of course, he's left-footed, unlike Kieran Trippier, who's got a great delivery, but he is right-footed, so will come inside and doesn't want to be attacked outside his left flank. Reece James, outstanding for Chelsea as well. He is very strong defensively and got a great delivery, so we've got to watch out for that going forward. Perhaps a little bit more attacking, dangerous delivery than Kyle Walker would offer. The only other one change that we think could happen is possibly Phil Foden coming out of the 11. We're not sure about that one. Could it be Jack Grealish? Could it be Marcus Rashford? I know you're a big fan of him, Peter. So we'll have to wait and see. As I said, team lineups around 6:45.
Yeah, here's what Gareth Southgate makes of the opposition in Scotland tonight.
I think him and Andy Robertson form a very good partnership down that side of the field for Scotland. We know they've got some very good players. You know, we know they've got some good players playing in the Scottish Premier League, and we know all of the players, of course, playing in the English Premier League are at a very high level. So we certainly don't underestimate the challenge.
I like Gareth Southgate. He's a class act. He's respectful when he needs to be, but he's certainly not one of those. You tend to get him on a same even keel, win or lose.
Yeah, even when he's up against it, and he does come up against it with the English media sometimes if they don't hit the expectations. But I think he's professional enough to look at our game against Czech Republic, and all our strength is down the left-hand side with Robertson, you know, and obviously with Tierney there now, you know, that's the side that they'll be concentrating and stop any ammunition going into their box. So that'll be the team talk from the England point of view.
Yeah, I always like to deal in, you know, a wee bit of chit-chat and gossip, Gabs. The one thing we're getting constantly here through the messages is, and listen, it may well be accurate, may well be inaccurate, a leaked team of Marshall, O'Donnell, McTominay, Hanley, Tierney, Robertson, Gilmour, McGinn, McGregor, Dykes and Adams. You know, I've had a good 4 or 5 texts on that basis as well. that would be an early elite Gabs on it, McTominay dropping into the centre of defence. It wouldn't be a shock for him to do that.
No, it wouldn't be a shock for Scott McTominay to start as a right-sided centre-half. We saw him do that in all of the playoffs in October and November 2020. It was very impressive there, and as I said, it's because he can wrap the ball into the striker's feet. Did he think perhaps Jack Hendry didn't do enough to keep his place? I don't know. The thing is that Scott McTominay was not impressive in that deepest lying midfield role. That's not the position he plays for Manchester United. He plays more as a box-to-box. Billy Gilmour in there with John McGinn in front and Callum McGregor. Another massive call. Gilmour has never started for Scotland. He's only made 2 appearances. He probably wouldn't have been called up if it wasn't for the injuries of Kenny McLean and Ryan Jack, but we all know how outstanding a talent the Chelsea youngster is. If he comes in, he could make a difference. Callum McGregor as well, he didn't start on Monday. Perhaps a little bit more fresh than usual. But then the one that a lot of people won't be too happy with is Stephen O'Donnell. He's taken quite a bit of flack from the Tartan Army since his performance on Monday night. He's played 20 times for Scotland since 2018. A favourite of Steve Clarke, but many would like to see James Forrest or even Nathan Patterson play on that right-hand flank instead. Yeah,
there is a real clamour for, there's a criticism of Stephen O'Donnell, which I think is unfair. He didn't have a good game, Roughie, fine. But there's been some people, I think, have unfairly slaughtered the boy. He's done his absolute best in this game. And, you know, if he sticks with him, you wouldn't be surprised, because Steve Clarke has that tremendous loyalty to his players, including O'Donnell. But who was the youngest debutant that you can remember in your 53 caps who seemed to come in as a youngster and handle it all?
I can't remember many off the top of my head, Peter, because most of them were experienced players, you know, the Dalglish and Jordan and Stevie Archibald and John Walker. They were all playing top football, you know, so yeah. I can't, I'd maybe come to me in the next 5 or 10 minutes, but off the top of my head I can't remember, because it was old hand Archie Gemo, Asa Hartford.
Yeah, I don't think Gilmour will be phased if he is in the starting 11.
No, I don't think so. He won't be phased, because the level of football he's been playing at and the players he's mixing with day to day at Chelsea, you know, will make him not phased by this, you know, and he's come up against a lot of these English players and he'll know that he can hold his own.
Yep, lots of people giving us their thoughts on what they think the score will be. Una Brennan, hi Una, great that you could join us. Come on Scotland, I think everyone really will be settling down. Will you be watching the game just with your family members, sitting on the couch, jumping up and down? Will you be going to a pub? Let us know what you're up to. Niall says Southgate looked worried in that interview. No, I think he looked calm, to be perfectly honest with you. Ronnie says, I sense a bit of fear from Southgate. Ronnie, tongue-in-cheek, I know exactly where you're coming from. Listen, at the end of the day, I think England know they've got an abundance of quality. We've got to match that. What would you like to see from Scotland the minute that whistle blows, Roughie? We certainly can't sustain a 90-minute high press. No. It's just not feasible. What would you like to see?
I think early on, first 10, 15 minutes, if we can show an advanced role, like I know it's old school. If we get the centre, just put it forward, you know, into their half, and then press.
Yeah, Sir Alex Ferguson used to say in the Man United Liverpool game, stick it in a channel and let's push up and get them in the back.
Keep them in the back, and then obviously they've got to get out of there. You know, and if everything goes your well, you can pen them in, and you're all pushed up. And it does make everybody think that, oh, they're going to have a go here. They're not really going to have a go. You know, they're just pressing the game and letting, you know, England know they're in again. I like Scott Brown's attitude, you know, thump the first person you see. You know, I mean, I know.
I don't think that was. I don't think you had the copyright on that. Souness used to do that with great regularity.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I mean, if you identify somebody who thinks they're going to stroll about in a Scotland-England game, you just let them know early on that this is not the case, and you just identify who that player is. I don't know who it would be. But certainly, you know, you've got to make sure that they know they're in a game. You've got to be biting at their heels.
Yeah. Were you nervous before a Scotland-England game?
Yeah, I think you'd be kidding yourself on. I think the night before the games were the worst bit, where you couldn't really sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and because you're thinking about how the game's going to pan out, and then obviously once you get up in the morning, you're going for your breakfast and you have a wee training session, and then you're going to the game. And the build-up before the game, the wait, I don't know, has Wembley got a tunnel now?
Yeah.
Yeah, tunnel. Yeah. That walkway, that tunnel walk is the scariest thing ever.
Yeah, but you had the long walk. There was a long
We had a
walk.
long. You always had to walk
Yeah.
up this big tunnel, and then you had to walk across the ground to meet the dignitaries, the royalty, and shake hands. And that is a nervous situation because you just want to get going. You just want to see how things are going to pan out.
Yeah, Joyce McDougall says she's going to be watching the match at home. William Christie says, I'm alone in my house, coffee and Scotland, that's my plan. William, there will be many like you. I know I've watched many a game on my own and you just jump up and down. I don't care, you know, sometimes if you're on your own, Roughie, you can jump up and down and use all sorts of bad language without offending anybody, you know, and go crazy, shouting at the telly as if it means something.
Yeah, as long as we don't get half time and we say, is there any known anywhere else?
Gabriel, that's the great point, isn't it? We have to make sure. I mean, even when we lost 2-0 in Euro 96, Gabriel, at half time it was 0-0. I mean, we were still in, the game was still alive. The Tartan Army had gone mental and were singing, rocking all over the world. I can remember it. We absolutely outsang the English fans who were inside the ground, and they were obsessed by football's coming home, but the Scotland fans were brilliant. But we've got to make sure, the players have got to make sure that the fans are still interested.
Yeah, well, they've certainly been outsung so far in central London. Will they be outsung inside the stadium? We'll have to wait and see. But going back to that point, can they keep it tight? It was the case against the Czech Republic. 42 minutes they conceded on with that Patrick Schick header going into the back post. You just felt if they could have got to the half-time, you know, regroup, let's go again, let's be more attacking, we'll get Shea Adams on. That would make such a difference because the atmosphere was electric. And then it was killed just before half-time. So what they've got to do is try and keep it tight. Like Roughie says, the 20th century approach, smash somebody in the first tackle or knock it away from centre. They have to keep it tight. They cannot concede early because England are not likely to throw away a lead. They look a little bit more resolute than they have before, especially with those two holding midfielders, Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. I'm just not... I don't want to think about the game, the idea that... they could go down too early. Roughie says you don't want to be turning over at half-time. I don't want to be walking out of here at half-time if they're 3-0 down.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, my apologies to everyone who may well not be happy with Gabriel and myself and Roughie's attitude of let's smash somebody early on. But you know what we mean. We mean we're looking for a bit of Scottish fight spirit, a wee bit of class. If we're 2 goals up, I'd like a wee keepy uppy Roughie just to give us a wee memory from '67, and then of course. You know, carry on for more goals. But if it's tight, I'm going to be really nervous. And I know a lot of people. Richard Henry says, I shall be at home in Lancashire watching with my Scotland top and a few beers. I don't want to go to the pub because I'll be greatly outnumbered. Richard, I know exactly what you're talking about there. Anne Grogan is watching from Canada. And of course, Gaza, his goal is on BBC just now in case anyone has been under a rock since 1996, says Craig Jack. Craig, I mean, it was a magnificent goal, but to be perfectly honest with you, I don't need to see it from every angle relentlessly for the last 48 hours. And Ronnie Chapman says, I've got a couple of bottles of Bucky to watch it, Peter. So you can tell right away, some people have their favoured drink for this one. Anyway, listen, fingers crossed, we're still in the game at half-time. Then they might get edgy, Roughie. That's what I think about it.
Yeah, I think the English crowd will get edgy. You know, there's so much there's so much built up in this young English side, and I keep saying young English side, who have still to prove themselves in an international jersey. And that's what we should be playing on. You know, they'll be nervous. Their young players will be nervous. They'll know what's expected of them. So the longer it goes, I think the English support will not turn on them, but they'll let their feelings know that they're not happy with what they're seeing.
Right, we're not too far away from giving you a prediction. I'm going to be absolutely bold and honest about it. Some might like it, some might not. Roughie's going to give us his prediction. Gabriel's going to give us his thoughts. So now is the time for you to post what you think the score is going to be. You can put the goal scorers in the lot. I'll try and read out as many of them as I possibly can. Frank Ingle says we need Baxter for that wee bit of keepy uppy. You're absolutely right. I tell you what we do need. We need one player in that Scotland side, 11 maybe, to show the spirit of Jim Baxter, that gallus attitude, that feeling of, you know, we're here in merit, and we can win this game. I'd love to see that. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm making sure my earpiece is still in, Roughie, so I can hear what Gabriel's prediction is. But just before we get to that, just to quickly look back at yesterday, I thought it was a brilliant touch. The Belgian players playing the ball out in the 10th minute, everybody applauding Christian Eriksen. He may well be getting this device fitted that will sense any irregular heartbeat. I know Daley Blind has got it in, Roughie. I really hope Christian Eriksen can play football again, but if not, you want him to have a long and happy life with his family.
Yeah, it's not very often you get emotional watching football, you know, and it's not your team, you know, and I think everything that's happened to him has been emotional, and that scene last night when everybody to a man, you know, got right behind, you know, everything towards him, you know, even the opposition and the opposition fans, they really take to what has happened, and again it was very, very emotional last night for everybody, even the commentators as well, and it's just unfortunate. Obviously Denmark never got anything out of that game, because I'm sure the players would have loved to have done something to give him that wee lift in the situation that he's in. Yeah, absolutely. In the end, it wasn't to be. Belgium, just class. I mean, on the evidence of last night, I don't think you can write them off. I think they're in the mix. Yeah, they're in the mix up front, Peter, but I haven't been impressed defensively for them, you know, and some of the other big sides. You know, I think you're looking at Italy, very good defensively, France, very good. But I thought some of the other big teams are relying on these big players, De Bruyne and Lukaku, to come up with the goods. And as long as they keep coming up with the goods, then they're going to be there or thereabouts. Yeah, Ukraine 2, North Macedonia 1, and Netherlands 2, Austria 0 was how it all shaped up. And then that match there just finished. Sweden 1, Slovakia 0. So Croatia against Czech Republic is the 5 o'clock kickoff at Hampden. I think everybody's absolutely and utterly forgotten about the fact that that game has implications as well, Roughie, because if the Czech Republic win and Scotland lose, then there's no way we can finish second. Yeah, we'll have to wait until the end of that game. There's a lot of permutations going about, but you're right, that would be the end scenario. I don't think they're good enough to beat Croatia. I think Croatia are a quality side with quality players, so they usually come good in this competition. They always have done, so I think we're all supporting them. Yeah, would you be happy with a draw in that match? Yeah, a draw, yeah, even a draw. Yeah. You know, again, after that, we've got to still do something in the other game, because there are other teams in other, I think it's 4, is it 4 from every other, yeah, third place from every other group. There's a lot of teams in other groups getting points that we didn't expect. Yep, so fingers crossed for that. Who do you think is going to win then? I'm going to go Croatia, Czech Republic, or draw. No, I'm going to Croatia. Not a lot of goals in it. I'm going to go 1-0 Croatia. 1-0 to Croatia. Gabs, how do you think that match is going to play out? What's your prediction?
Yeah, I think Croatia will probably just edge that one. It is crazy to think that there's a game going on back at Hampden right now as we're all down here at Wembley. But what Roughie said there, 1-0 for Croatia would probably be the best result for Scotland, because that would put Croatia and Czech Republic both on 3 points, which means even if Scotland lose today, they could beat Croatia, and if England beat the Czech Republic, then all 3 sides would be on 3 points. So it would then come down to goal difference. You would hope that Scotland, if they lost today, would only be a 1-goal margin, and perhaps they beat Croatia by 1 or 2, and the Czech Republic get thumped off England, then Scotland could finish second with 3 points. I know it's plenty of permutations and lots to happen in our favour for that to be the case, but we've got to go with a 1-0 Croatia for me as well.
Yeah, thanks for all the permutations on it, Gabs. I'm with you on it. I mean, anything that gives Scotland a chance to finish second on 3 points would be magnificent, although beating Croatia is a tall order. Although you did mention there, Gabs, that you know, hopefully if we are going to lose to England, it's only by a solitary goal. If you'd listen to half the pundits, Roughie, and the ex-players, you think they were going to take 4 or 5 off us. Some of the what I call the stupid shock jock pundits who are suggesting 4 or 5, I think, are trying to make a name for themselves. No, I think we're disciplined enough and organised enough not to lose that kind of goal. The amount of goals we've seen in since the new manager's come in, he has structured a team not to lose that amount of goals.
And again, I think England haven't shown that they have got 4 or 5 goals in them yet.
Yeah, okay. A big shout out to Alison Sarah Carroll. She watches the show on a regular basis. Not feeling well. Let's hope you get better soon, Alison. Let's hope you get better 5-8 tonight, Alison, so you can enjoy this game and hopefully the right outcome. Rick Stark says 1-1. George Logan says 4-1 to England. Alan Brown, England 2, Scotland 0. Mark Jennings has gone for a draw. Niall Kane, 1-0 Scotland, sticking with it. Niall, there's no disgrace in being patriotic about it. Hugh Scott says, Peter, I would take 1-1 right now. I would take a draw. Yeah, I would take a draw right now. Scotland 2-1, says Andrew Davison. And John Kilmurray says 1-0 with Robertson scoring. 1-0 Scotland with Adams scoring, says Davy Thompson. And Anne Grogan says Roughie in the net would help. Obviously, they want you back as a goalkeeper, which would be fantastic. Not a lot of movement nowadays, Roughie, but nevertheless, you were still. What's your record?
I thought she meant in the net.
No, what's your record with seven games against England? 7
games against England were 2 wins at Wembley and a defeat, and at Hampden, I think it was 2-2. 2 wins, 2 defeats.
Yeah, George Ward says, I've got a bottle of vodka in hand just in case it goes wrong while sitting next to England fans in Liverpool. George Woodstock says, Gilmour must play in central midfield. He knows how to play against them. He's shown that with Chelsea against Liverpool. Yeah, Bill Muirhead, 2-1 Scotland. A lot of people just edging, as a tight one. Alan Shields says 1-1 with McTominay scoring. 2-2, says Stephen Stewart. So many people giving us their predictions on this one. I've made it very, very clear that I think we have to show an attacking formation. I think we've got to go out there with the intent that we want to cause England problems. I really hope he plays. Forrest on the right flank. I want to see Tierney and Robertson. If McTominay has to drop back to the centre of defence, I wouldn't be too unhappy with that. But I'd love to see Gilmour in there. I'd love to see something, the unknown element, that gives us a chance to give England a problem, not only in the left side where they know we're strong, but in the middle, something different in Billy Gilmour going forward. On the right, James Forrest, and then 2 up front, Roughie, I think has got to be the way ahead. I don't have the team at the moment. There's all sorts of speculation on what the team is, Roughie, but that's what I'd like to see to give us a chance of a win.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at the second half, and I know games don't all pan out the same, but certainly with the changes that he made, there was more enthusiasm, there was more attacking, and Forrest was creating problems for them, running at people. Adams was floating about Dykes. That never happened in the first half. But it's a playmaker for me. I'm watching all these games, and every team has got a playmaker, somebody who just is in that zone, who can just bring people in and make passes, and and bring obviously himself into the game and be an attacker as well. But certainly that team that you're talking about, I think would be positive, and I think it would give England a bit of a shake-up.
Yeah, okay. Gabs, you're down there. I know the nerves will be shredded. I know your heart will be beating that little bit faster ahead of the kick-off. So give us your prediction. How do you think this match is going to pan out? And how do the bookies sense this one's going to pan out, Gabs?
Yeah, well, let's go for the bookies first. They're not fancying Scotland, to say the least. England are 3-10 to win, so they're heavy, heavy favourites. Scotland 10-1 to win the match. And if you fancy 0-0, a ball draw, that's 9-1 as well, so they don't think that's going to come in. Talking about goal scorers, Harry Kane is odds on to score at any time. For Scotland, you've got Shea Adams is the favourite to score first, 11-1, so a pretty big price there as well. When it comes down to my prediction, it's difficult to go with the head and the heart. I like my statistics. The 4 games between the two sides this century have delivered an average of 4 goals, so perhaps we will see goals here. I'm going to go for 1-1, Harry Kane and Grant Hanley from a corner.
Well, 1-1 is the scoreline from Gabs. Grant Hanley from a corner, which I'd be happy with that, Gabs. I know you're trying to be as optimistic as possible.
Which end did he score on?
Yeah, exactly. 1-1. I'm going to go Scotland England 1. I think they've got too much quality. I'm willing to take it in the neck. I desperately hope that I'm wrong with this one. I really hope that Scotland can somehow get out of there with a draw. If they get a win, don't bother phoning me or trying to contact me over the next 24 hours. I'll be absolutely bladdered drunk. I'll be going to the tennis at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, Roughie, playing with the short end of the tennis bat, because
I thought that's what you had been doing for the last 3 months.
I'll be gone. I'll be still celebrating. That'll be mental if we get a win, but I can only see England winning 1-0 or more.
Well, the facts, that England playing at home, and they don't lose many home games. It would have to be something spectacular for us to get in there and get a win. It'd have to be right out of, I don't know what it's right out of, but right out of left field or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to settle for a draw as well. I'm going to go for 1 each, same as Gabriel. I'm going to go 1 each. I'm going to hope we score first, and then have a disciplined show that makes them struggle. They will score. I think we lose goal. We're going to lose a goal. We always lose a goal against quality sides. So I'm going to stick in for 1 each. Yeah,
fingers crossed. Listen, thank you to so many of you who have posted your thoughts on how you think the match is going to play out, who's going to score. Enjoy it in the safety of your own home. Brilliant. Let's hope you can enjoy the game, get the popcorn out, get the beers, get whatever it is you like to eat during a game. And let's hope that your nerves are not shredded too much. Just be careful if you have any low-hanging lights, that you don't jump up and scalp your head off it if McTominay hits a pile driver into the roof of the net. You've always got to be wary of that. If you're out at a pub, don't forget social distancing and stay out of trouble, and everything in moderation as far as the drink's concerned, unless we win by 1-0 or more. If we win by more than 2, Roughie, then I'm not coming to your party tomorrow. I'll be lying in a heap outside the studio, hoping that somebody can drag me in before the rain starts.
No, I think if Scotland were to win tonight, I'd love to be in pubs when the publican said you have to leave by 10:30. I'd love to be in a pub when they're trying to get people out the door by 10:30. Not going to harm.
Yeah. Gabriel, needless to say, because I am almost like a father figure to you, which is galling to say, I want you to stay out of trouble. What's the movements like for this one? Do you have to be in a couple of hours before the game kicks off? Is it really, really tight as far as security is concerned?
Yeah, we've got plenty of fans starting to arrive now. As we know, it's a staggered entry. Everyone has a half an hour slot that they'd like to come into. 5:30 is the first one, but there's plenty of fans here already. There's a few UEFA stalls you can come and do entertainments outside. I'm not allowed in until 7:30, just half an hour before kickoff. So I'm going to have to linger. I wonder if there is anyone nearby that I could get a beer. I don't know if I could even have a beer. I'm so nervous. I've not even allowed myself to think about the game. And as you said, if Scotland win by 2 goals, you'll be lying outside for the next few days. If Scotland win by 2 goals, I won't see you until the new season.
Gabriel, I'm going to allow you that fact. If Scotland win and we get through, it extends your stay. I'll be worried about the expenses, Roughie. If he's claiming everything down there, Roughie, we could go under. This company could go under.
Yeah, well, he's behaving himself so far, but he's got every right to, if we win this game, to go in the lash.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, everything in moderation. Stay safe down there, Gabs, and avoid any trouble, to be perfectly honest with you. We hope it's a great game. We hope it's played in the right spirit. Let's hope for an entertaining game. I don't want to say let's hope for a lot of goals, because then, you really do bite your nails. But to everyone who's contributed, thank you very much for joining us for this one. We will be back on Monday to reflect on the game. They'll be still talking about it on Monday. We'll still be talking about it if we are winning. And hopefully we'll be showing the winning goals for the next 35 years, to be perfectly honest with you. But the only thing that remains for me to say, and on this programme, as ever, Roughie, on this programme, it's the one time when we're all together saying, come on, Scotland. Good luck to Steve Clarke and the boys. We want them to do us proud, Roughie, and come up with something over 90 minutes that is a game to remember.
Yes, and expectations as underdogs usually means we put up a big performance, and I'm hope for the manager like you and the players and the supporters who are down there, it's a memorable night.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't need an Australian on a horse with his face painted to get up for this one. We are up for it already. Come on, Scotland. Thanks to everyone for watching. Join us on Monday if you can. And don't forget, if you download the PLZ Soccer app, all you have to do on the app is hit submissions and record your message. What you thought of the game, who was the standout. Just give us a 60-second little clip of you talking about the game. If we use it on the programme, we'll be sending you something special from our, our shop. It's as simple as that. We'll send you a lovely little prize if we use your video on the show. So on Monday, make sure you've got the app, record your little thoughts on the game, and then we'll play it on Monday on the programme. It starts at 4 o'clock. So from everyone here on PLZ Soccer, from Roughie, myself and Gabriel down in London, come on Scotland, enjoy the game.